Hi Gemini, I hope you guys are doing great today. Welcome to your general reading for career and love. Let's get right into things. So it's going to be covering for, let's say, the 19th until the 28th, till the end of the month. I hope you guys are doing great. Let's get started with career. I'll work in the astrology as we kind of go along. Money-wise, let's talk money-wise. We do have the 19th to the 28th. We have Venus and Mars are going to be squaring off, and that can just create some issues or some tension. It could be in relationship as well as finance. I'm going to timestamp below for relationship. If you don't want to stick around for both readings, no worries. So that's going to be going on, but I'm not mad at that. Like I mentioned this last time, Venus and Mars squaring off just is kind of necessary. Venus is all about how do you feel in that? How's the money going? How do you feel? Do you like the version of yourself in that job? Do you like where, how are you feeling about it? And Mars is all about making sure that we're on this right path that we're meant to be on. So it's kind of like this necessary tension. A square is always necessary tension. And it's also this kind of realization where you're trying to work something out, but you're realizing, oh, guess what? There might be bigger lions out there who do something even better than me, or, something, there might be a situation that I didn't even think about regarding this situation. That comes up a lot with square. So that's going on between the 19th and the 28th, but you're going to be able to actually talk about it. I do feel like this. From the 20th to the 21st, depending where you are, Mercury is going to be stationary. That 20th, 21st, try your best to not have any important conversations, just because, if you could avoid it, because there's a lot of stubbornness, glitches in communication that day. And then finally, Mercury goes direct on the 22nd. Just give Mercury, I always say, anywhere from 7 to 10 days to sort of stretch his arms and come out of the retrograde, because we always have that post shadow. But we have the 23rd to the 26th. We do have Mars and Pluto are going to be trining. So that's really good for very good communication, positive transformation. Excellent for investments, guys, raising energy levels, accomplishment, any situation where you kind of need to really be in your power. 23rd to the 26th looks good. Okay. Other stuff, but we'll talk. Ooh, 10 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles. I like getting a lot of Pentacle energies when we... 10 of Swords. All right. Sometimes we need that. 4 of Cups. All right. Why would that be in your challenge? Devil reverse. It's better in the reverse. Why would that be in a challenge for you? So we have the situation right now. We have the 10 of Pentacles. So this is really, this is about, first of all, maturity, right? This is family maturity, deepening of commitment, having to do with some sort of investment. So great energy, like if you're in business with anybody, or if you're doing anything that requires money. Because remember, my money reads are not only about your job, because not everybody even has a job, or some people are retired, or they're just, they're not in that space. So it can have anything to do with finances. Your money that comes to you through other people, inheritance, insurance payouts, lawsuit, anything like that. Okay, so this does indicate this is a very family energy card, kind of like legacy, inheritance, that kind of thing. Anything having to do with property, particularly for those of you who are dealing with any sort of property transaction. Definitely a 10 of Pentacles energy. Could also show up as maybe going into business with somebody right now, starting some sort of project with somebody. And then we have that being crossed by the 9 of Pentacles. So you might kind of want to do your own thing here, though. You might just want to focus on your own thing, because the 9 of Pentacles is about accomplishment and success, but in primarily like independent endeavors. And you getting the reward that you're looking for after you do some really solid work here, which is really nice. Remember, 9 is the number of productivity. So there's going to be a really nice integration of body, mind, and spirit. And you're going to be getting very, very much in touch with what it is that you really want to do. But I'm not going to lie, 9 is kind of like that kind of energy. So if you're in the situation where maybe somebody wants to do some sort of collab with you, or some sort of partnering up, or some sort of investment, or this could also be if you're in a situation where you're getting some sort of divorce settlement. This is actually very good, because it's like whatever is coming to fruition, you guys are making some sort of arrangement, agreement, and you're going to be able to have what you need to sort of be on your own. We have the 4 of Cups energy coming into this. Now, Four of Cups is feeling not very content, right? The Four of Cups is kind of like apathy. I'm bored, restless, just feeling very disillusioned about something. So you might have been very involved in an idea, in a project, in a job, in a lawsuit, in something where you had very high expectations, right? But then it ended up not coming to fruition, and it was less of a disappointment and more of why do I even bother with this kind of thing energy. And you want to really try to avoid getting negative with it. You really do, because the Four of Cups is definitely like one of the more immature energies. And I'm not saying that you're immature. I'm saying that you want to make sure that if something didn't work out, that you're looking at your role in the whole thing, and that maybe at the end of the day, you aren't actually ready to do it with those people in that way, that particular job, that project, that business agreement, where you're realizing that, at the end of the day, maybe you were not as ready as you thought. So energetically, it's almost like you were being protected. And I have to feel like that because this is in the past coming into this, as we go from the Four of Cups to the Ten of Pentacles, which is really, really positive. And we have the Page of Swords. So something is coming to light here. Page of Swords is the personification of air, which is about communication and truth, right? So useful information coming in, getting help from people around you to further your ambitions. This could be a contract coming your way regarding a job, a contract, any kind of agreement, anything having to do with, again, it could be anything from like an actual job offer to a contract to agreement, whatever it is, but it's new because it's Page, so it's a new cycle coming in, and I really, really like this. Now, the only thing that I want to say is because we have Venus entering Pisces on the 25th, for you guys, Gem, this is going to be happening. It's going to be happening in your 4th house. Okay, but what does Venus entering Pisces mean? It's really nice. It's very sort of like, sees all the colors of the rainbow with the goodness of love and all of that stuff, right? But Venus in Pisces, while it is very, it's very soft. There's a softening effect that it has on the edges, the sharp edges of a situation. It's difficult to grab what it is that you want, since there's this longing for something that's just really hard to define and hard to satisfy, because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is very smoke and mirrors, right? So the borders and boundaries of a situation might seem a little blurred. Like if somebody comes along and they're like, Gemini, tell me exactly what's going on with that business transaction or that job. You're like, well, I pretty much know. I think this is it, but maybe I'm not. And then if somebody starts asking you specifics, you're like, you know what? I don't really know. So you just want to be careful, because the shadow side of this energy is allowing yourself to be victimized or deluded, or you needing to deal with somebody who's very evasive, or you even being evasive, and it's not going to end up serving you. But all of that's going to come to light, because on the 27th we have the full moon in Virgo. So this is a very about the work energy. Virgo is the landlord of the 6th house, which has to do with our mental, physical, emotional health, but it also has to do with what we do on a day-to-day, and anybody that we're dealing with in any kind of work situation. So I do feel like there's going to be some, like, this full moon is going to be, full moons in general are a time of culmination and the promise of fulfillment that was started in the new moon, or at least the idea of something, which is really, really good, because this is about like fertilization and making relationships, like really good networking energy with the full moon in Virgo for sure. Very beautiful, like, putting visions into pragmatic reality. So I really do like this. But some sort of crisis, which can be a crisis of consciousness or a sudden awareness of you feeling this sense of lack, right? Having to do with something to do with money, right? And it's that awareness of the lack in your life that's going to provide you with this golden opportunity to explore your emotional needs within the context of whatever that this is bringing you, right? So for you guys, because it's happening in your 4th house, it's all about, what do you need to feel very grounded, rooted, safe, and secure? What do you need to get for that house sale? What do you need to purchase that house? What do you need to do work on your house? These are all exchanges of money having to do with that fourth house, right? So you're going to be very actively trying to strike a balance between what's being offered and what do you actually need? Like, what's the reality of the situation? It's really trying to square out your dreams with your reality, right? This is definitely an eyes are wide open during this time. I'm calling it for your work, habits, anything like that. We're definitely going to be receiving a lot of very strong messages from your intuition. But what I like here is it's in beautiful harmony with Uranus, suggesting that, and the reason I'm giving you this kind of like speak up here, I'm leading up to the Ten of Swords. I'm leading up to the Ten of Swords. I exercise some care while you are expressing, because you are going to be expressing some sort of reality that's going to be bursting forth into your consciousness regarding the situation. Okay. Now this could be in relationship as well. This could just be in general, but I am resonating with this as well, being something having to do with something in work. But Uranus is very positively aspected here, so I really, really like this. And I do want to say, like, that this particular phase of the moon, it's occurring at 8 degrees and 57 minutes of Virgo, is affecting people born with personal planets and points at approximately 5 to 13 degrees in the mutables. And you're immutable. So it's you, it's Virgo, it's Sag, and it's Pisces, most significantly. Between that 5 and 13, give or take a degree. Right? So we have this now as the foundation, there being some sort of painful ending to something, but it's still a minor arcana. And so this minor arcana is going to incite this new beginning. So something had to end, right? There's a history here. The finality in the release of something releases you from the frustration and stress, even if it's painful. And this is the end of a challenging era for you, so that you can transform this into a healthier energy with fresh eyes and a new mindset. Which is why I said all that nice Venus stuff for a full moon in Virgo, in Pisces rather, as well as Venus. So you're the King of Pentacles, which is really nice here. This is an Aries and Taurus energy. It's very generous, very hardworking. Now, this is you. So you really are looking to just kind of feel settled into something, making the most of your assets. So you know what you're bringing to the table, Gemini, right? It's not a question of like, you know what all of your talents, skills, gifts, and abilities are. You really just want to be in something that's settled, and which is very funny for a Gemini, right? And obviously it's going to depend also on what else is going on in your chart and how old you are, right? As this is going to manifest very differently if you're 28 than if you're 43, and even more different than if you're 55, because there we have a lot of, depending on that stage in your life where Uranus and Saturn are. I don't want to complicate it any more than that, but maybe I'll do a video on that for you guys, but the different life stages and what we deal with. But the King of Pentacles, because Geminis usually love to flutter in different things. It's not that you want to be, you don't want to sit behind a desk. That's not it. But you just want to know that whatever it is that you have going on here, you're exercising it to the best of your potential, and you're being recognized for it. You don't need accolades. You just want to be able to do what you love to do and be able to make a living at it and kind of feel settled in that. And we have an external energy that's impacting you here, which is the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is a personification of fire. So this is good news about any project that requires negotiation, a really busy time at work. This can bring in a new offer. And while the status or like the glitter of something may not be as high as you would like or expect, it still may appeal to you in theory. So just make sure you read the fine print before signing anything. Absolutely. We always say that anyway, especially when Mercury is not completely, straight. But this is about expressing yourself, but this ability coming to you because of somebody else. So because you want to remember something, the pages aren't actually, they're people, but they're not people. This is coming in and announcing. The pages come in and announce. So if somebody's coming in and announcing good news, announcing that, you're able to negotiate something. So I really like that. And then we have the Devil in reverse as your challenge. which is kind of funny. I'm sorry. But the Devil reverse is, you know, the shackles are coming off. This is just so much more positive than in the upright. It really is more positive. Restrictions are dealt with more easily, or it becomes clear that the situation is actually not as bad as you thought, but this is a challenge for you. So I feel like, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, be careful with that, with this Pisces season, Gemini. You don't want to you want to make sure that you don't allow, how do I want to put this? Because this is a good thing, but it's like there are going to be so many things going on. Be careful that you don't get swept up in like the wrong idea about a person or an offer or anything like that. Because the Devil reverse is very, very positive. It's nothing like the upright, because it's restrictions that have been coming up are going to be dealt with, but that's going to be your challenge. And I feel like it's going to be your challenge because of Pisces season, because of Neptune's influence, which is very smoke and mirrors, and you don't trust anybody anymore. You're just like looking for what's going to be going on, which, quite frankly, I think that's probably a little better strategy than being gullible, come to think of it. But that's what your challenge is going to be. Things are going to come up and you're going to be able to resolve, but you're not going to trust the resolve straight out of the gate. You're going to be asking a million questions. You're going to be finding the Scorpio in your chart. You're going to be asking a million questions. So, which I think is actually a good thing. But what I do like is the restrictions that have been going on here, even though it's a challenge for you to believe that something is being lifted, something is being lifted. Just make sure you don't not notice it. And you'll know what I mean when the energy hits. And then we have the Knight of Swords here in the near future. Yeah, so this might have to do with the this being your challenge with the Devil reverse, because the Knight of Swords is a very up and down, very roller coaster energy. It's very unpredictable. Sudden truths coming out, underlying conflicts coming out. This can definitely be a relief or confusing. I always say that with this energy because it depends on what's going on in your personal chart. So again, this is for the general collective. This is going to be a relief where something is going to come to light. Whatever's been a conflict is going to be exposed, and you're going to be like, oh, finally, right? I see it. Or it may be confusing. Now, I feel like for some of you, it may be more confusing than anything, and that's where the Devil reverse comes in as your challenge. Even though it's a good thing, it's like something's going to come to light. You can have this realization, and you might have a hard time like believing something, processing something. As we go from the Knight of Swords, then we go to the King of Swords, which, love this is the final outcome, you know, I just do. In air energy, I mean, you guys are air, but this in astrology, this happens to be Capricorn and Aquarius energy. Very ambitious, logical, outwardly calm, using very, again, very sound logic, no emotions here. This is all about focusing on the mind, focusing on the facts, focusing on the truth of a situation, and not allowing yourself to get too swept up in anything, which is really, really good. You know, always like to see that as far as, like for career reads, for sure. Okay. Yeah, we have Pluto, transformation. We have Taurus, beautiful. So, ooh, and we have the 8th house. So the 8th house has to do with other people's money, meaning like, let's say you're in, let's say you're married and you're getting a divorce. It's not to be negative, I hope you're not, but let's just say that as an example. The 8th house would be the money that you get from that divorce, right? Because it's about endings and beginnings, the 8th house. It has to do with how we show up as a we, your partner's money mixed with your money, your partner's, you know, communication with your communication. How is everything blended? Well, there's going to be a lot of changes here. Pluto is all about transformation, endings and beginnings. So we have kind of two endings and beginning energies, kind of like the death card. Something needs to end so that something else can begin. But I love that we get Taurus, because Taurus is very grounded, very practical, ruled by Venus. And this is very good money energy. Taurus is the landlord of the 2nd house of money. Also our self-esteem, and that we're going to feel really good about being in something. So I do like that for you, for sure. So there's definitely a lot of change going on. 8th house is not only about, like, I gave that as a basic mundane example, but it has to do with anything that you're negotiating. See, the negotiations happen with the 9th house energy, right? But if there's money that's going to be going back and forth, this is how it goes. The deal gets negotiated in Sagittarius in the 9th house. Across the wheel, because it works ascendant, descendant, works on the same axis as Gemini. Gemini is signing on the bottom line, 3rd house. So 3rd house, right? And then the money coming in, that's 8th house. Okay, so it's 8th house. So there's some sort of transformation in circumstances. I hope I didn't confuse you. I hope that was clear. Yeah, so let's pull a Wisdom of the Oracle just to get like a good crowning here. Ooh, regeneration, very nice. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of regeneration going on here for sure. Regeneration is also another Pluto energy. So, you know, we got Pluto, we get the 8th house, which is, Pluto rules the 8th house. So lots of change going on. Very nice. From where you're at right now, so it doesn't mean that you're going to be doing a completely different job or something, but it could mean that there's like a new path offered to you, a new way of doing it, a project that's been stalled finally starts moving forward, anything like that. Really nice. 3rd house, perception. 3rd house is also where we do business. So lots of communication is the 3rd house. This is your house, Gemini. This is you. You are the landlord of the 3rd house. So healthy communication, doing business, signing on the dotted line, asking the questions though, right? You definitely want to do the research, right? 3rd house is all about doing research as well. Some of you guys might be dealing with some sort of social media experience having to do with making money as well. So that is what I have for you, my friends. I hope this was helpful, having to do with career. Okay, so now let's move into relationship. Yeah, I mean, Gem, you do have a lot of stuff going on. You know, well, by the way, I do want to mention, just before I do the relationship, you have all these energies going on in your 9th house, right? Which is about higher education, about negotiations, right? Everything that I mentioned before, dealing with foreign land, foreign travel, foreign cultures. So again, maybe like social media, online stuff, you could be dealing with that, right? But I did want to mention that the sun in Venus, and then that full moon, and well, the full moon energy for you is going to be in the 4th house, but the sun in Venus, as sun entering into Pisces rather, and then we have the Venus entering into Pisces, that's going to be happening in your 10th house of career. So there's going to be a lot of focus on something to do with your career, and with the sun and Venus in there together, Gemini, like there's something really beautiful that's slated energetically to happen for you right now. At least some beautiful seeds are going to get planted. So I very much like that for you. All right, now we're going to go into relationship. Okay. Hold on. The Gemini friends, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I did the deep love. I got a lot. Ooh, a lot of people were not happy with me about what I said for Gemini. Oh my goodness. Gemini singles loved it, but not the committed and the complicated. Let's see what we have here. We have the Empress crossed by the Queen of Cups. Okay, good. 4 of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, 10 of Swords, 9 of Cups. 10 of Swords is in the recent past. Okay, so we have the 10 of Swords here. So this is about a complete and painful end. So something ended. We don't need to labor this point. So, I mean, this is about endings. There was a history. There was a final release of something that ended up releasing you from a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, something really, really painful. And now you're just, moving forward and really trying to grow yourself for a lot of you. You know, again, now this is a minor arcana. It's not a major arcana. So this could have been a major argument within your current relationship, and you guys are coming back together to really kind of work things out and have, you know, a very beautiful conversation with the Queen of Cups energy. But the Empress is about being able to grow in something, right? It's about growth. It's fertility. She's the mother of the tarot. So relationships. So first of all, for those of you that's single, this does indicate a great time to begin a new relationship. Those of you who are in a connection, this does indicate a time of growth and harmony. So it just does depend on, you know, where you're at right now, right? But in numerology, this is the Hangman in the World, which is a very interesting combination if you think about it, because the Hangman is a Neptune energy. So there's an element of confusion, but the World is all about finishing a lesson and learning your lesson so that you can now get the blessing. So it's like you go from being confused to having learned a lesson. I hope that makes sense. And then we have this working with the Queen of Cups, which is a Gemini and Cancer energy in astrology. And so Gemini being about, you guys being about communication and learning, and Cancer about being that fourth house of home. So you guys could literally be discussing moving in together. You could be discussing purchasing a home, something to do with a home literally in the 3D, or this could just be conversation about what you need to feel very secure in something and very grounded, or you could be doing both, right? It could be a little bit of both, but definitely a different energy from the Ten of Swords. But I do have this sense though where you're still, now for some of you, if you're single, you're in this space of saying, okay, you know what, whatever happened in my past, I'm ready to go open up myself to a new relationship, and I really need to be very clear with this Queen of Cups energy. What is it that I really need from a relationship? Because this is about falling in love and deepening of love and emotional honesty about what's needed to make something work. And we could be like this for ourselves. This is a very high EQ energy, emotional intelligence, not afraid of intimacy, right? So for some of you, you may be in this space where you're realizing that the energies that you've been dealing with up to this point just weren't equipped. They just didn't have what it took. And that's okay. But you in the span, let me just speak to those of you who are in that, who resonate with that for a moment. We have the Four of Pentacles as the crowning energy, which is about you being a little self-protective right now. Holding your heart close, okay? So definitely the Four of Pentacles is that energy, right? It's about security and self-protection. And really, a lot of you just might be plain old working on yourself, doing some good old school self-improvement, you know, watching your resources so that you know, you have money, like, you know, whatever. But this is, if you've been working really hard on something, this is you achieving it. But it's a self card. It's a self energy, okay? So if this is for those of you who are in a single space, right? And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, and you just being really, really patient, right? Investing your time very, very wisely, not wasting your time with people that you know aren't going to 100% do it for you. You're just not. This is a very loyal and dependable energy who's a lot to offer. They could be a bit boring, right? So I'm going to segue that into those of you who are with somebody. But this is you really focusing on what it is that you want, right? And recognizing that you don't want to waste your time with people who are just not going to, who are simply just not going to ultimately be what it is that you're needing. Let me just finish with those of you who are single, and then I'll go back around for those of you who are in a committed or complicated kind of thing. We have you as the Page of Wands right now, which is it's a great energy. This is about you expressing yourself. And you just getting really in touch with what it is that you want in a relationship, getting very, very honest. And I like this for you. To be honest, I love this. I really do. Especially with Saturn and Jupiter in your 9th house of your moral code and what matters to you, your personal philosophy. You just don't want to play anymore. You're identifying very honestly what matters to you and what doesn't matter to you. Some of you dealt with an external energy that walked away. You know, this is about departure and change and emotional somebody else being very emotional, intelligent, subjectively, according, to where they sit, because something wasn't feeling right to them, right? And they felt like a lot of sadness, but no regret, like they had to leave the situation. But meanwhile, look at how you're responding to it. You're responding to it with the Page of Wands, which is you're all about expressing yourself and saying, all right, well, you know what? I'm just going to do me. I'm going to focus on me, and that's it. If you were not on board with whatever was necessary to make this relationship work, then good riddance. Your challenge here is the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords is about the truth coming in, so some sort of truth being delivered, relying on your intelligence, right? So this could be a challenge. So for some of you, you may be very directly still dealing with the energy of somebody who is super insensitive and very forthright, who may have been rather immature when it came to communication. So that could be a person, or it could just be the truth of a situation, you feeling very challenged in being able to accept something. But no matter how we slice it, this is very beautiful. We have the Nine of Cups as the near future. And I'm going to tell you, I like the fact that we got the Tower next, because for those of you who are single, you are just changing what you look for. The lights are coming on. You're realizing that you've been calling energies to yourself for way too long that you just have no business being with. They might look fabulous on paper, but they are just not. They are not what the doctor ordered as far as like long-term for you. And you're going to realize this. This is like an epiphany, which can even be really shocking to you, because in the way we're internally, you're like, how did I not see this before? But it's time to let go of past patterns of relating. It's time to let go. You have to do it. Definitely like an abrupt change within you, where suddenly you're realizing that maybe, for example, maybe you're realizing that a traditional relationship is not really actually what you want. Maybe, depending on where your Uranus and Aquarius are in your chart, maybe you're realizing that you feel very stifled in a traditional relationship. You want something different. Others of you've been exercising a very different and unique arrangement within a relationship, and you want something more traditional, and you're not willing to settle. You're just not willing to do that. So for a lot of you guys who are not in a solid relationship right now, you may resonate with it like this. For the rest of you, Ten of Swords energy could have just been this past struggle that you guys were going through, and you're coming together, having this communication right now, trying to figure out a way to grow this together. But there's still this protection, this Four of Pentacles energy, which is still kind of holding your heart very close, right? But we have as a foundation this Knight of Pentacles, which is really, again, very loyal, dependable energy. But yeah, I mean, this person that you with might be a little boring or slow to share their feelings, but depending on what you're looking for, they can be good. But again, I don't have to remind you guys every time about Geminis, it takes a lot to keep a Gemini interested. So the big B word, that boring, is like, so, and you have to figure out what that even means. And is there any way to mitigate that? Maybe you have to spice things up. Maybe once they see you spicing things up, you just have to communicate. It does seem like maybe you just need to communicate, because for those of you, with this Knight of Pentacles is an actual person that you're dealing with, this is a really nice person, right? It just is. And things going better in the relationship. But I do see you still sort of having this wait and see. Those of you who are in a long-term committed relationship where nobody's going anywhere. You're very sort of in this space, though, where you're just very much wanting to express yourself. You're enjoying some sort of good news that's come in your relationship. So maybe this has to do with work or a financial situation or something that you were waiting for or waiting on. But the thing is, like, you're very sort of in a really nice zone for yourself. But the Eight of Cups is somebody walking away. And Now, this is an external energy that's influencing you. So you could be the one walking away as well because you realize that something was just not feeling right and you had to leave, or you might be feeling that way. You're at least leaving the situation. Now, again, minor arcana, you could be leaving emotionally. So you could be in this space, Gemini, in your relationship where it's like, you feel the shift of change, where you feel there's disconnect either within yourself or with them, where you guys are not as connected emotionally as you used to be. And that could be a painful truth for sure. The Page of Swords is about the realization of something, right? Coming to terms. And you might be having a really hard time just figuring out how you feel about that. But we have in the near future the Nine of Cups, so I feel like you guys are going to be experiencing something that's quite positive. This is not like a nothing card. This is happiness, wishes manifesting. Now, this could also indicate a new romance, so I don't know where you're at with that. But feeling more connected to your own heart, this is just a time for growth. And issues from the past just kind of dissolving, just going away. Now, for some of you, the Tower is going to mean, look, it's a general message. I don't know what else is going on in your chart or what you're going to be deciding, but the Tower can certainly be, this realization coming to light where the relationship ends, could definitely, now, quite directly, this doesn't have to have actually anything to do with the relationship, believe it or not. This can be like a property that you guys were hoping to move into ends up not materializing, or maybe you guys are working on something together and, some sort of building project, and it ends up not materializing. So you realize that you have to change your strategy, right? So some of you are going to be in that space where you thought in the Nine of Cups energy, oh, finally, but then it ends up not materializing, where it has nothing to do with your relationship. This could just have to do with a shared experience that you guys are having. This could also indicate that you guys are having really, really good communication about rebuilding the way something was. In other words, you're completely changing the past patterns of relating. If you've been having issues with how somebody is around the house, having issues with how somebody is regarding intimacy, communication, whatever it is, being thoughtful, not thoughtful, being exciting, not exciting, because that might be a conversation you have to have here. There's going to be a change in how you guys relate, and that's going to end up being a very beautiful thing for you guys. So let's see if we can't. Let's pull a Whisper of Love. The Union of Hearts, a love connection, defies explanation. Well, that's really beautiful. Yeah. I feel like for some of you, if you've been having a lot of challenge, it does look like there's going to be this tension and then conversation. Tension and then conversation. Well, that makes sense anyway, right? I mean, we have the Venus and Mars squaring off from the 19th to 28th, so that's going to create problems in relationships and finance. There's problems, but there's going to be things that you're going to have to work through. Mercury is going to be stationary the 20th, 21st, as I mentioned. Okay, just knocking over my stuff here. So definitely a stubborn energy. So some tension there for that bit. But then a little later on, a couple of 23rd into the 26th, we do have Mars and Pluto are going to be trining. So it's really good for healing. Really good for nice communication. I do like that. And then, of course, Mercury is going to be finally going direct. So we have the Mask, not showing true feelings, hide, personify, pretend. Yeah, so somebody might, kind of like I mentioned before, feeling this emotional disconnect having to do with something. But clarifying that, I'm now feeling the fallout of my actions. So maybe there was some sort of argument that took place. Somebody did something that maybe hurt you, something in the past that never quite healed. We have addiction here, codependent obsession, possession, controlling, has a block. This could just be any sort of imbalance in the connection. And then we have, I lied. I lied because I was afraid of losing you. Clearly not a good strategy. So somebody may have lied about the reality of a situation that deeply impacted the reality of your relationship, either what they could actually offer, what they were willing to offer, whatever. It could be anything like that. We have abundance. Keep a positive mindset. Manifest exactly what you want. Gratitude and bliss. Clarifying that, we have, I'm so insecure and I know it's a problem. I'm looking at myself and that's not easy for me. Okay, so that's really a beautiful awareness to fall upon anyone, is it not? Then we have love, unconditional love, self-love, oneness, passion, affection, attraction. Very good. Seeing you reminds me of things that I know deep down, but that I struggle to deal with. So I feel like you guys are going to be doing some Chiron action going on here, Gemini. I feel like you guys are going to be doing some really beautiful healing. Vulnerabilities are going to be addressed. Insecurities are going to be addressed. It actually looks really beautiful for those of you who are coupled. Those of you who are single, you're going to be going through a lot of growth and really good energy of self, like working on self right now. So I like that. I hope this was helpful in some way. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.